Alright, we got something a little different going on here today, and we've got a 2012 Toyota Camry, and it's got a problem that we got to fix. So how we'd like to do things around here is, instead of just fixing something, we like to upgrade it if possible. So we have a problem with the head unit on this Camry, and this is a very common issue with these 7th gen Camrys. I don't want to say that the nav system is like completely bricked, but it's not responsive like it should be. These buttons are, they should, I mean, it boots up, I think, like normal. It's not super fast, but I don't know if it ever was in 2012. The AM/FM radio seems to work, and I can get the navigation to work sometimes, but 90% of the time, there's just nothing. It tries loading, and it'll load the map, it'll freeze up, just like that, and then it'll reboot, you'll see the Toyota logo again. So essentially this whole head unit is damaged. There's something going on inside of it that it's just not working properly. And if I wanted to, I could just take it to the dealership, and apparently for the low price of like 1,500 bucks, you can get a new, outdated, old, tiny head unit. In my opinion, it's not worth it. Especially when we can potentially upgrade to Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, all that kind of stuff. Screen works okay, and the backup camera still works, but it's just not responsive, and a lot of times it just freezes up. This is the Scout 10 head unit from Dasaita. I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know. And so what this is going to do is, this is just one of the modern Android-based head units, which are pretty awesome. I'm running one in the Tacoma. So what do we got in here? We've got, it looks like detailed instructions for how to even take apart the dash, which is really helpful. It's nice color images and everything. Cool. Got an owner's manual. And then we've got, of course, harnesses that we need. This car has the factory JBL system in it, and I believe that means that it needs a different jumper harness than just like a base model. Okay, this is the new unit, and it looks like a much bigger screen, first of all. It also looks like, obviously we have to mount the climate controls to this from the original one. And I think, yeah, we have to swap the clips over as well. There's probably little yellow clips on the back that we just snap those on. No big deal, that's typical. I had to do that with the one in the Tacoma as well. And again, we've got our harnesses there. And this is a really well thought out kit. They have color instructions for how to remove the original radio, and then it has connection tips for installing the new one, and then of course the user's manual. Alright, since it's not my first rodeo working on a Toyota, I'm willing to guess and say we're probably going to need a 10 mil, and we're probably going to need a pry tool, and we're more than likely going to need a Phillips screwdriver, and that's probably about all we're going to need to take this apart. Okay, so I'm going to start by starting from the top, I guess, and we want to try and pry this vent out. There we go. That just clips in, and then we can pop this up. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to bother disconnecting that, because I can get at everything I need to get at, I think, from the top. Now these side trim pieces, these should just pop off too, from what I understand. Wow, okay. So it looks like we have 4 bolts holding this whole assembly in. We have 2 on each side here, and then also 2 up top, so that's going to be our 10 millimeter. Now this should just pop right out. Okay, now that we have this out, we're going to have to disconnect all the harnesses going to, all the plugs going to the back of this. Okay, we've got all the connections disconnected. Almost all of them. We still have this one down here. There we go. And now it's free. Guys, check this out. Look at the difference between the size of these screens. This is awesome. So this is the old Toyota unit. Lots of dials and buttons. Of course, we're going to swap this climate control over to the new unit here. But look at the size of that screen. I'm going to measure these and actually find out what the difference is. Alright, check this out. So the old one looks like it's about 5 1/4. And the new one is about 8 1/2. So pretty substantial difference in screen size here. We got a pretty good upgrade. Not to mention this is much more modern technology in this. So to get this original climate control off, we're gonna take these screws out of this bracket. And something tells me if this is anything like the last one that I installed in the Tacoma, these might not line up in the new one. Alright, so I got the climate control unit separated from the original head unit, and it just kind of clips in place once you have those screws out, but these, where are they? These right here, these guys, there's 3 of them. You have to kind of pry those with a screwdriver just to unpop them. And then, of course, the bolts in these brackets are what holds the sides in. So you just have to kind of finagle that a little bit. Now I'm working on taking these yellow clips off. Again, off the original head unit. We need to reuse those for the new one. And I found the easiest way is just to use a little pick, like a little dental pick like this. You just want to pull one side of the clip out and then grab the other side and pop it out. That's just, you can see how they're shaped, just like that. So straightforward, just take it easy and try not to break them. All right, all of these clips are now off the original head unit, and I believe that's all we need to source from this thing. So it's done. This we reuse. Let's mount this onto the new head unit and go from there. And we're also going to put these clips on as well. Okay, so now it's just a matter of matching up all this wiring. Alright, well, I've almost got it buttoned up here, but unfortunately it looks like they sent me the wrong wiring harness because I've got one plug with nowhere to go and it doesn't match up. And my suspicion is that this harness is for a regular Camry, and this one has the upgraded JBL audio system, and I think that's probably a different harness. So I think I just need to get the right harness. Hopefully they can send it to me quick and I'll finish up this video then. Okay, picking back up on this video, and I believe I have the proper wiring harness now. The issue was one of these, I got most of these plugged in, but one of them didn't really have a home. It wasn't a proper connection, so this harness is for the JBL system, and that's really all it was. I'm not going to go through each connection here with you, just because your head unit might be different based on your model year or whether or not you have the JBL system. It's very straightforward though, everything only plugs in one way, so it's just a matter of taking the time to look around and just see what kind of connections you can get, and make sure you get everything that's coming out of the car into something, if you can. These ones I'm not sure, I think these might have been for like the factory nav or something. I'll find a spot if I can for these, but if not, I think they're not used anymore. Now as far as the harness that the stereo company gives you, you might have some leftover connections here, and I think that's okay, because they're not going to build a separate harness for every single different possibility, so they just kind of send you everything and you plug in whatever you need. So I think for the most part I've got this buttoned up. The only other thing is the antenna for the navigation. Okay, I just want to show you real quick how I'm running the wiring for the GPS antenna and the Bluetooth mic. I want to have it up here in this crack in the A-pillar, and so I just pulled this weather stripping down, and I'm going to be running it down along the stripping, and then I pulled this panel off the side of the dash, and I'm going to run it through here. I pulled this panel down, and these all just clip together. You can just pop them out with a pry tool. I'm going to run underneath the steering wheel, and then under here, and into the back of the stereo. That's the most efficient way to run it, I think. Alright, so I got the GPS antenna and the Bluetooth microphone run, just like I said, down through here, through the weather stripping, and you can't see anything. Pretty clean install, if I say so myself. So then I just, the remaining wire, I just tied it up to get rid of some of the slack so I can plug this into the back of the head unit. And that's basically the next step. We got to plug all this crap into the back of the new head unit, and I think we should be good to go. Alright, so I got it powered up, and it looks like everything is functioning. I just wanted to make sure everything was like hooked up properly before I put everything back together, and it seems like everything is working. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the reverse process of how I took it all apart. 4 bolts, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and everything else just snaps into place on this car. It's actually really easy to work on, so that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, so I'm just snapping all these pieces back in the same way they came out. This we just push back down in. There we go. Just the vents. Should be all buttoned up now. Alright, we got it up and running. And it works really good. So, just like the Pioneer head unit that I have in my 4Runner, Android Auto is wired, while Apple CarPlay is wireless here. So the cool thing is the factory USB port still works. So I have my phone connected with that right now, and now I'm running Android Auto. You can run the radio. You can run phone calls. Bluetooth stuff is all connected here. You can also run your music from your phone through Bluetooth if you don't have Android Auto or CarPlay. So you can go ahead and take a look at all the apps here. And in order to access Android Auto, you have to use an app called Z-Link. And this is how you get access to Android Auto then. So you have all your typical Android Auto apps that you can load up on your phone however you want them. And the screen is nice and responsive. As far as power goes, this thing sounds really good through the factory JBL system, which is awesome. We also have, let me see if I can. We have the factory reverse camera that still works. It's just a much bigger screen now, which is cool. Probably turn that off before I give myself carbon monoxide poisoning. But yeah, overall, I'm really pleased with this head unit, and we're going to keep testing it out, and so far so good. Super easy install. Anybody can do it. If you're at all experienced with working on cars or stereo stuff, very easy, and especially with these Camrys, they just snap together. So now we have not only functioning factory navigation, we have the USB port still works, we have the backup camera still works. Also want to check and make sure that all of your heater controls are still functioning too. Make sure you remember to plug that harness back in. But now we also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a much, much bigger screen. I mean, look at this thing. It's huge. Big improvement over the old one. So with the price of these units, I just don't think it's worth replacing the factory Toyota head unit on these if you do end up in a similar situation where yours just stops working. So hope that helps you guys out. I'll put a link down in the description for you to find the Dasaita head unit that is installed here. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.